Hey guys, so today I wanted to do something along the lines of Packers. Now, of course, if you've heard of them, you know what they are. Basically, they're to give the impression that you have man bits. Some are way more realistic, and some are not so much. For example, mine is made from an old sock. But the point is that if there's a chunk of sock in my pants that makes it look like I have man bits. It's mainly because at this point in time I do not have the money for a packer yet. However, I do plan on getting one. Although I think I'm going to get one that's called, or from the group of ones called a stand to pee device. So that eventually, I can go into a men's restroom and just stand to pee. They do have those things. I've recently learned that they do have stand to pee devices. And they're pretty fantastic, let me tell you. I haven't used one, but they look like they're really cool. It is not a necessary thing. For example, at work today, I chose not to wear mine. I don't wear mine every day. Partially because I admit I'm still rather uncomfortable for using the men's restroom, having used the women's restroom my entire life, and I still look like a woman. Which is, I think, my bigger problem. Sometimes I do, and it really helps in my confidence. But there are times where I'm just like, you know what, nah, I don't really feel like wearing it today, and that's fine. You do not have to wear one to be validated. And if someone says you do, they're wrong. I know I'm just a complete stranger on the internet to you, and you don't have to believe me. It's what you feel. But trust me in saying you don't need one to be validated. If you feel that you are more comfortable in wearing one and you feel more like a guy wearing one, go for it. There's no one stopping you. Unless, of course, you have parents who don't understand or who are very against it and are just not going to accept it. In that case, wear it at school or work. Just take it with you in your bag, go into the restroom really quick, the restroom that you feel comfortable in. And that's another thing. I think a lot of workplaces and schools should invest in, like, I'm going to say a family restroom, but genderless ones work too. In general, the kind of family restroom I'm talking about, there's one at the mall close to where I used to live, where they'd have a stall, and you actually go into the bathroom, and they have a stall, and then the sinks are separate. And it's pretty awesome, because you can just walk in there and wait, and you can feel comfortable with yourself. But genderless bathrooms are probably better too. You can go in there no matter what your gender feel, whatever, like, if you do not feel comfortable going into the regular binary bathrooms, like the normal girl one or the normal guy one. Because as uncomfortable as I am going to the men's restroom, now identifying as a man, I feel really uncomfortable going to the girls' restroom when there's someone in there. If there's no one in there, I'm fine, I don't really think about it. But if there is a woman in there, I feel very uncomfortable because I feel like they're going to freak out at me and say, oh my gosh, you're a man, you shouldn't be in here. Although I know they're not going to. Not because they understand, but because I look like a woman. Even if I wear my little pin that says, I'm a guy, like if you can read it. Even if I wear that pin, they just completely ignore it. And I also have a littler pin that I wear to work because they don't let me wear the big one, sadly. It just says he, him, his. No one reads it. My coworkers will look at it and they'll question, like, oh, well, why do you wear that? Someone asked me, like, oh, did your boyfriend make you wear that, saying that I belong to him? Like, no. I wear this because I identify as a man, but I don't look it. So I need to make sure that people use the right pronouns for me to be comfortable. And at work, most of the people there do have some issues, just because I look like a woman. They do have some issues calling me girl or girlfriend or whatever, lady, ma'am, and that's alright, because most of the time they catch themselves, and if not, I gently remind them. The best way I tell people to do it is I let them know what my preferred pronouns are, what the pronouns I'd like them to use. I'd feel more comfortable if they used. And then I say, I will not be mad if you mess up. Because I know, I look like a woman. I was born a woman, I have feminine features. I'm very aware that I look and sound like a woman most of the time. I do get a little upset with my boyfriend sometimes, because we have been dating for almost 7 months, and we've known each other for more than that. But just a little. And he only occasionally messes up, and that's fine. I don't really get mad at anyone, unless it's like, I told you 100 times for months on end, you need to understand that these are my pronouns. And especially if they purposely use the wrong pronouns. That's when I get upset. This is not saying you should not get upset at that. No. If you feel upset, don't yell at them. Just calmly remind them, please use these pronouns. I feel more comfortable if you use these pronouns. You know? Most people will understand, and they'll usually apologize. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean. Like, no, it's fine. You know? Just calmly explain. If you get mad at them, they're going to be all defensive and say, well, it's not my fault you look like a girl or something like that. They're going to be a little obnoxious. So you just try to be calm. For those people who are not understanding and purposely use the wrong pronouns, you're allowed to get mad at them. You're allowed to get mad at anyone. You should get upset with them. Again, do not yell at them. They'll probably be worse about it. But forcefully explain, like, please, you need to use these pronouns. It's respectful. Please respectfully use these pronouns. Don't try to, like, misgender them back, or it's not even the whole hate breeds hate thing. No. It's just a term from the Bible, if you pardon me. Or, I guess maybe not specifically the Bible, but turn the other cheek. Just be polite. Or be as calm as you possibly can. Sometimes it will upset them, and that's fantastic, because they'll realize they're the ones in the wrong. They may not admit it, but they'll realize it. My hair is getting longer now, and I can start styling it a little bit. The best thing to do is just be you. You know, I try my best to have a deeper voice most of the time. Although I'm home right now, even talking to you guys, this is my normal voice. It's a little bit higher pitched than what I would like, but, you know, it's my relaxing voice. Like, I don't even have my binder on right now. Important. I said something about I was talking about binders yesterday. Even if you don't wear a binder, even if you just, like, something's wrong and you can't, your parents won't let you, they'll be upset, you physically cannot wear a binder, your gender is still valid. Please believe me in that. You know, it may be a little bit harder for people to understand looking at you, and you're allowed to get upset about that. That's perfectly fine. You have no control over your body. It helps having a pin or a name tag or even a shirt that says, ask me about my pronouns. That will help. Because more often than not, it will at least grab someone's attention, and they'll ask, why do you have that? For example, my name tag for work says Mr. Ace, and I have been asked about that. Well, why does it say that? Well, because I'm a guy, but I don't look like one, so I have to make sure people use the right pronouns. It has confused people, of course, because I do look like a woman, and they're like, nuh-uh. I'm like, yes, I'm a man. One thing that bothers me is when you tell someone your gender and they try to tell you no, you're not. I don't think this has happened to me so far, I can't remember, but my best friend Finny has dealt with this at work, where someone will call him ma'am or miss, and he'll politely just say, oh, I'm actually a guy, and they'll get upset with him and say, nuh-uh, you're a girl. It's like, excuse me, I should know what my gender is. Sorry, I'm trying not to get too mad about that, but it's really annoying when someone does that. Like, excuse me, I should know what my gender is. When I worked with him, we both worked at Walmart together, and I left a while ago, but when our coworkers would say she about Finney, I'd be like, no, Finney's a guy. As the best friend, it's my duty to make sure that all our coworkers understood Finney is a guy. Which was kind of silly that there's still like she when Finian is a guy's name. I can understand with Ace, because Ace is just like a name that, you know, could be for either gender, which really worked well when I was identified as gender fluid. It's a little bit more difficult now, but it's fine. I don't want to change it because Ace just sticks so well. I love it. Hearing someone say my name, Ace, is a wonderful thing. So yeah, basically, don't let someone invalidate you. Your gender is valid. Whether your parents, whether your teachers, whether someone says, oh no it's not, you're this gender, you know what your gender is. It has nothing to do with what you prefer, what you feel like. It is your gender. Do not let someone tell you it's not. Even if down the line you discover something else that you feel closer to, the current gender you are right now is still valid. Even when you go ahead and start identifying as that gender, that other gender is still valid. For example, for many years, I identified as a woman. Partially because I didn't realize there was anything else. Even when I felt like a guy, I just took it as being a tomboy, because that's what I was taught. I was never taught that there was anything different except trannies and so on and so forth. The really terrible things that people call MTF transgenders, which really bothered me when I really learned about it. When I was younger, it was a normal thing. I mean, many of you probably understand that. When you're younger, or even early 2000, late 90s, that was the thing. They were trannies. And that's a horrible thing to call someone. Unless they want to use it, but I don't think many people do. It's transgender. Or a drag queen. Which I know one. She's fantastic. They're fantastic. I'm sorry, I don't think they're fully transgender, but they're fantastic nonetheless. It's cutting a little close. I'm gonna try to end this soon. Your gender is valid, is what I'm trying to say. The story. Right, sorry. So I used to identify as a woman when I didn't know there was anything else, and when I started feeling more comfortable in guys' clothes and using guys' deodorant and stuff like that, like I said, I just like, oh, I'm just being a tomboy. This is a normal thing. Of course, there were several times in high school when I was like, I think I would like to get a sex change when I'm older. I didn't really go too far into it because my parents growing up had taught me that that's not the right way to think. Your gender, the gender you were born with, is the gender you're stuck with. Is basically what was going on. So I didn't think too much into it. It wasn't until after high school, when I was, I want to say 19, almost 20, or maybe I was 20. That's when I really started discovering that there were, well, no, it was after high school. I'm not sure exactly when that I discovered that there were more genders than just male and female, and men who wanted to be women and tomboys. And when I realized that, that's when I really discovered I was actually pansexual. I did identify as bisexual for the longest time because I thought it was just, oh, I'm attracted to boys and girls. But then when it was like I really looked at the genders, I was like, first of all, there's more than just the two genders. And second of all, I don't really care. I mean, I care, but I don't really look at it when I'm looking at someone who I'm attracted to. You know, I mean, I'm attracted to girly bits, I'm attracted to manly bits. You know? I'm attracted to a woman who might have manly bits, or a man who might have girly bits. It doesn't matter. You know? gender is not what I look at when I'm talking about someone I'm attracted to. But yeah, when I discovered that there was more than just the two binary genders, I really started thinking about it. At first, I thought it was genderqueer or genderless, or gender fluid, sorry. Just being able to go back and forth, that ability was beautiful to me. It didn't matter what gender you were originally. Just being able to be a girl one day or being a guy the next day, I loved that. And one of the biggest users on Tumblr who helped me realize that was Asphyxia. I don't know if you guys know them, but they're fantastic. So there you go. I think that's it. I guess today's biggest advice bit was just to know that your gender is valid. If you aren't sure what your gender is, there are so many sources on the internet. Just type into Google or something a list of gender types or something along those lines, and just look at the descriptions of each gender and see what fits for you, what sounds right. I'm actually starting to think I'm more of a demi-boy, which is you're mostly a guy, you mostly identify as a guy, but there are times that you're just, like, not a guy. Whether it be a girl, genderless, which I think I'm going for genderless as my other part. So you're not fully a guy, but for the most part you are. I believe that's what it was. Pardon me if I get it wrong, and please correct me if I did. But that sounds like what I am. Most of the time, I'm a guy. Like right now I'm talking to you, I'm a guy. But there'll be times when I'm like, I don't really have a gender today. You know, like, earlier this week, I went into work wearing a bra instead of my binder. It felt wonderful that day. You know, and I didn't mind people calling me a girl for once. It was fantastic. I felt pretty. I was a girl. And that's perfectly okay. I knew at the very beginning when I first started identifying as a man that there were going to be times that I was still going to be a girl. So I said, I'm going to identify as a man who sometimes dresses up and acts like a girl. That is what I said at the very beginning. And it's come to be true. Not entirely. Most of the time I am a guy more often. I haven't been a girl in months, to be honest. But there you go. Now, if you have any questions, if you want to know advice on something specific that I haven't done yet, please contact me. My Tumblr is Septicat. I'll put it in the description so you know. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and please do remember that you're valid, that your gender is valid, and you as a person are valid. Anyway, have a good day. Be safe, guys.